5 unlikely companions stand together in a mausoleum in a library between worlds. One of them, a small three-eyed wizard, holds up a weird sphere with a galaxy turning inside of it. Another one of them, the mathemologist, contemplates this orb, wondering, what does it mean? The same sphere on different worlds. What does it mean? Hello, and welcome back to Sphere Hoppers. I am your host and storyteller, Royce Rosewood. We are in the midst of running the Stygian Library using Troika rules. So, a couple of notes from last time. You may have noticed I misread one of the die rolls during combat. I gave Suvara, the knight, a mighty blow when in fact that should have gone to the giant bookworm. So because of that, and because that we have now a party of 5, I'm going to up the difficulty of the combat encounters. So before, the conversion that I was using was taking the hit dice and adding 1 and turning that into skill for Troika. I'm going to change that to adding 3. So the new skill is going to be the hit dice plus 3. That should increase the difficulty of our combat encounters and adjust for that bad roll. And also, we're going deeper into the library. It makes sense that things are going to start getting a little bit more difficult. So in our last episode, we met Cam and Zamzes from the Gozer campaign. These are 2 little goos from the planet Gozer. Cam is the wizard. They have 3 eyes. They've got a bunch of spells here: light, doubt, fly. My body is bread, wizard spear. Their 3rd eye gives them the ability to detect hidden and invisible things. They've got some weird stuff. They've got their magic slate spellbook. If you remember those things when you were growing up that had like a sheet of plastic and then you'd like use a little pen and it would stick to the back. That is what Cam keeps their spells on. So if it ever gets pulled up, then they lose all their spells. Kind of dangerous. They have rock gloves, which let them climb things. They've got a magnet. They've got the weird sphere, of course. They've got chewing gum, and they've got a golden eyeball that they got from that flying worm, I think. Zamzes is sort of the stouter, the stronger of the 2. Zamzes can never do magic. That is one of their limitations. They have skills in negotiation. They've got an eye beam. They can shoot plasma from their eyes. They've got strength. They've got a butterfly knife, spiked gloves, a shrunken head for some reason, and another of those golden eyeballs. So, as they're talking, Dragog is obviously very interested in this weird sphere, this galaxy sphere. They call them different things that he has seen several examples of back on Troika, and now he's seeing another one. He has a lot of questions, so he's asking Cam and Zamzes about this sphere. So, what can you tell me about it? Where did it come from? Tell me everything that you know. Cam says,
well, I stole it from another wizard named Liza, and I didn't know what it did. And then eventually, we worked with Liza, and she knew how to use it, and she threw it, and it made a portal to another world. So yeah, but she wanted us to find out more about it, so she told us about the Stygian Library. There was an entrance in the bottom of her tower. She had a library down there, and of course, somebody had died down there, so there was an entrance to the Stygian Library.
and Dragog stops Cam saying, "Wait, what do you mean? Somebody died there?" And Brodana kind of looks uncomfortable, kind of looks back and forth and says, yes, I maybe have neglected to mention that is one of the requirements for there to be an entrance into the Stygian Library. There must be a large volume of knowledge, and someone must have died there. And Dragog says, so somebody's died in the Die Prize Library? And Brodana says, yes. My forebears. I'm one of many generations of library keepers, and they all, died in the library doing their work. Dragog says, well, why didn't you tell me that Brodana says, well, I didn't think it was important. So what has actually happened, players, is that I just forgot to mention that requirement in the introduction episode. But there are no mistakes, there are only opportunities. And so I think it's interesting that maybe Brodana is maybe keeping something. There's like some sort of secret, has maybe not been entirely honest with Dragog and Suvara. That might be interesting. We'll see if that comes up. That resolved, Dragog turns back to Cam and says, it can make a portal to another world. That's fascinating. And Zamzi says,
Yes, I thought so. We had no idea that there were other worlds. And you say that you are from another world. This is fascinating. I am very interested in exploring and meeting other people from these distant worlds.
I have a question. And this is a bit weird because I'm sort of making up the lore as I go. Liza has sent them into the Stygian Library to find out more about this sphere. She already knows that it can make a portal. So, like, what else does she need to know? I don't know. So I'm going to roll on our story cubes and see if we get inspired for an idea. All right, we've got a harp. So Cam says,
Well, yes, so we know it can make a portal. Liza was able to do that. I'm not able to do that. I don't know how to do that. A little bit ago, maybe a few days ago, it started making this music.
And they all kind of quiet down, and if they listen really closely, they can hear these strange sounds.
And Liza said it had never done that before, so we wanted to figure out more about that.
So Cam and Zamziz are also here in the Stygian Library to find information, and we need to set the difficulty of that. You know, if we set it to the 35, then that'll be on the same level. That'll keep things nice and easy. Speaking of progress, since they've met up and they've shared information, I think that counts as a point of progress, right? They're at 20 and a depth of 6. So they've been standing here in this mausoleum for some time. And if you recall in the previous mausoleum, I said that these characters were not the kinds of characters that would loot a crypt for treasure. However, I believe Cam especially is the kind of character who would loot a crypt for treasure. They've stolen before. They used to live in poverty. They come from sort of a hardscrabble world where they sort of have to take every opportunity that they can get. Cam is interested in looting this crypt, but I think also Suvara, being the representative of many, many deities and having taken many oaths and many vows, my guess is probably at some point has taken a vow to protect burial places from being disturbed. Cam says,
Oh, look at this. Oh, it doesn't look like it's been opened. I bet there's some really great treasure in there.
Suvara says, I'm sorry, it would not be right of me to permit you to loot this crypt. I have taken a vow, a pledge, and she points to the particular badge on her sash. I must protect the sanctity of all burial grounds. And Cam says,
Yeah, but there might be something really cool in there. Something awesome.
Suvara says, even so, that does not give you grounds to loot this crypt. And, putting her hand on the sword, I will not permit it. Okay, so we've come to an impasse. How are we going to resolve this? Well, you know, Zamziz has negotiation, and that is what Zamziz does, is sort of a peacemaker negotiator. So I think Zamziz is going to try to see if we can find some common ground. So Zamziz is going to roll negotiation. Roll 7 or under. Zamziz says,
I understand and respect your beliefs, Suvara, but we are here in an unusual situation. You must admit this place is dangerous. There might be something in this crypt that is very valuable, very helpful to us. Perhaps we can just look and see, and then decide.
And Suvara doesn't like this, but she is somewhat swayed by this successful roll. And so she just decides to step away to not watch as they loot this crypt. So between all of them, Zamziz is pretty strong and Brodana is pretty strong. They are able to, lift up the lid of the sarcophagus. And we get to roll twice on the treasure table. Really, I just wanted to roll on this table, but I thought I would make a fun scene out of it. All right, roll D20 plus depth. We are at a depth of 6. All right, 1 plus 6 is 7. A stash of ammunition. Interesting. I don't think we need that. And 11 plus 6 is 17. 2d4 random spell scrolls. Are these Troika spells? Are these Gozer spells? All right, well, let's see how many we've got. 2d4. Roll this 4-sided dice twice. 3, 2, that's 5. Oh, that's a bunch. I had to go grab my stuff from my other campaigns. I'm going to roll up twice on the Troika spell table, twice on the Gozer table, and then for the 5th one, I'm just going to roll some story cubes and make a spell and see what it does. Yellow, red, black. 1, 4, 6. Exorcism. 2, 1, 1. Iron Hand. The Gozer spells are on a D100. 75. Spirit of the Beast. 93. Ultra Transform. I'll roll 2 story cubes and come up with some sort of new spell. All right, we've got, so it's like hail and comet, explosions, things falling. So we'll call it like Rain of Hail. Cam, being the wizard of the group, is going to collect all of them. We're dealing with like this weird blend of magic systems here. So I'll say that Cam will need some more time to kind of learn them. Now, finally, I think we've been here long enough that we need to trigger another encounter. Encounters. D20 plus 6. 3 plus 6 is 9. 2d6 paper bees. Bees the size of a human hand that inhabit the infrequently visited corners of the library. They feed on ink and grime rather than nectar and distill it into black honey. When paper bees are encountered, they've probably got a hive not too far away. If the players decide to track where the bees go, then after going deeper, D4 more times, they will find a paper beehive. All right, so how many are there? It's a 2d6. There are 10. I think if we don't bother them, they're not going to bother us. I'm imagining they're sort of coming from some other place. And so they wind their way through. So I'm going to say that the characters are interested in following these bees and seeing where they go. So how much farther do we need to go? Get our D4. Okay, so at the depth of 10, they'll find the paper beehive. They are still looking for their information. They got to keep going deeper. They might as well follow these paper bees. D20 plus depth. 14 plus 7 is 21. Spider trapdoor. Uh-oh. Details. 18 plus 7 is 25. Spirit illumination. Random event. 16. A detailed set of notes left by prior researchers. 1d4 progress. So they head down the stairs into a deeper level, and they come into a new room. This room is lit by an ingenious, if subtly disturbing, method. Around the room are glass orbs, each containing a phantom. Each orb is held in a clockwork device, which every few minutes shakes the orb gently, agitating the phantom within and causing it to produce pulses of light to express its irritation. The room is therefore lit by a constantly shifting and flickering glow of different colors that rises and falls as the different phantoms are given a good shake periodically. Additionally, when they enter this room, the floorboards, they notice, are a little uneven and there are strands of cobweb over the floor. I, of course, having read the whole entry, know what this means, but this is the only clue that our characters get. Cam has the third eye, spotting hidden and invisible, so we're going to test that right now. That's a 3, rolling under 7. That's a success. They all step into the room, and Cam's third eye kind of goes to the floor, being able to see beneath. Cam says,
"Hold on. Stop. I don't mean to alarm anyone, but there is a large spider hiding underneath the floorboard. I can tell it's lying in wait for us. It's got like a trap door."
They are aware of the spider, and the spider, of course, is aware of them. So Zuvara says, "I know what we can do. I will offer myself up as bait to lure the spider out, and you all can take places in the darkness of the room. And once it opens itself up from its trap, then we can all strike. And Dragog says, are you sure? Are you willing to make that kind of sacrifice? And Suvara says, I am protected in my armor, and we must slay this beast to protect any others who might come this way. I'm going to give this spider an initiative of 4. It seems quite capable, and it knows exactly what it's doing. So I'm going to take 4 of these enemy cards and shuffle them into our stack here. Because of the situation that we've set up, and because Suvara is lying in wait, and the spider is also lying in wait, I'm going to have the first roll be between Suvara and the spider, and then whoever wins, that sort of represents, who's able to actually take advantage of the other. And then from there, we'll start using the stack. So Suvara is going to be using her sword fighting at 6, and the trapdoor spider has hit dice of 4 plus 3 now, so is at 7. So the spider has an overall advantage of +1. Here we go. So the spider gets the advantage. So they all set up in their positions around the room. Suvara stands in the middle, and then the spider opens up from the trap and then pulls Suvara in underneath the floorboards into the trap. It makes its bite attack. We're sort of making up how this works. D10 damage plus 4, so that's 8 minus 4 for Suvara's armor. Put her at 16, and she has to save against poison. So we'll make that a luck roll. She has to roll under 11. And she does. Okay, so she's not poisoned. Not very good plan. Underway. We are in combat. Who goes up first? It's Cam. So the first thing Cam needs is a weapon. So they're going to cast Wizard Spears. They'll roll under 7. They've rolled 7. Great. So that costs them 2 stamina. And they've got a spear in their hands. Who's next? The enemy. All right. The enemy spider is obviously locked in with Suvara underneath the floor. Here we go. And remember, the spider has +1 against Suvara. Ooh, okay. That's a pretty bad hit. D10 damage plus 4. Yikes. But the +4 is negated by armor. Okay. So that'll put her at 9. This was a really bad plan. I don't know what we were thinking. She has to save against poison. So make that a luck roll. Yes. Good thing she's got a lot of luck. She's not getting poisoned yet. The spider just really, wheeling on Suvara with its fangs. All right. Dragog. He's going to run up and he's going to hit the floor with his astrolabe. And we'll see kind of how much damage that does. None at all, because he misses. He runs up and he's hitting on the floor trying to get to Suvara with his astrolabe. It's not working. Who's up? Zamzes. Good. Someone competent and capable, hopefully. Zamzes is going to use their eye beam to blast a hole through the floor. Okay. That's 8. Trying to roll under 8, so that is a success. They focus, and the plasma shoots out of their eyes, and they're able to make a hole in the floor, so now everybody has access to the spider. All right, Suvara's up. She's still locked in combat with this spider. Need a good roll here. Great. That'll win, so Suvara gets a hit with her sword. Now, the trapdoor spider does have armor as chained, which I believe is equivalent to 2. So we will reduce this roll by 2. All right, 3 to... Okay, so that's 4 damage on the spider, taking it down to 12. With the big hole now blasted open, this sort of stuns the spider and takes it back, and Suvara takes the opportunity and slashes off one of its legs. And the spider goes... All right, who's next? The enemy. Spider did not like that. Yeah, so it's going to go after Suvara again, unfortunately. Okay, a tie. All right, so Suvara tests her luck, which has been drained a little bit. She's got to roll under 9. That is 9. The spider, is freaking out, lunges at her. She parries its fangs with her sword. They're locked, and Suvara is able to push off and stab. Another damage roll, -2. That's 2. Okay, it's the lowest of 1, so that's 4 damage, bringing the spider down to 8. All right. The spider goes again. I mean, I hate to keep picking on Suvara, but I think that's what the spider would be doing in this case. So Suvara still wins. Another damage. 4 -2, 6 damage this time. The spider's kind of like skidding around and it's kind of like losing control, and Suvara is just able to like keep slashing at it. Take that, fell beast! So the spider's down to 2 hit points. All right, it's Dragog. Dragog, now that there's a hole in the ground opened up, is going to swing down with the astrolabe. It's 7 versus 7, so this is just a straight roll. And it's Dragog. Astrolabe ignores 1 point of armor. So it's 3 just -1 to 2 to do 4 damage. So he brings his astrolabe down, swings it down onto the spider and crushes its head, and it has been killed, and they are victorious. So Suvara, having taken quite a bit of damage, feeling pretty drained, but they were able to defeat the spider, and it does say that there is treasure in here. So I think what we'll do, we'll combine the treasure with the notes that we're supposed to find in here that we rolled up. So we get to roll on the treasure table again. That's 20, 27. Collection of D10 jeweled rings, each worth 200 silver. Now, we don't care about the specific values, but rings are nice. How many rings? 7 jeweled rings, and notes that describe the progress of previous unlucky journey through the Stygian Library, but 1 point of progress. Oh, okay. So digging through the spider's nests, they find this set of 7 jeweled rings, and also notes from a previous expedition, and they're sort of able to piece together a little bit of information about what's going on in the library. Dragog says, "Thank you, Suvara, for your nobility and your sacrifice. I believe these rings belong to you." And Suvara says, "Nope." She points to like a particular band, just like, "I've sworn off worldly possessions."
Zenji says, "I will hold on to them."
So they're still following these bees. They're still trying to get to the paper beehive. But Suvara is getting to the point where she might need some rest. But everybody else is doing pretty good. She doesn't want to hold anybody down. So going to keep going deeper. We're now at depth of 8. 19 plus 8 is 27. A furnace. Details. 11 plus 8 is 19. Too small. And a random event. 15. An extraordinary book. This room is too small. It is sized for people 1/3 the size of humans. The ceiling is only 4 feet high, and the books, furniture, and similar things are likewise smaller. And we're at a furnace. A metal chamber filled with coal burns fiercely. Its heat used elsewhere to power steam engines or warm the library. So I imagine that it's cramped, and this has to do with the placement of the furnace, and maybe it's sort of like a crawling passageway, to get by. I imagine it's quite hot. And one thing that I neglected to mention about Cam is that heat and fire make Cam paranoid. We'll test luck to see if they can resist their paranoia. Roll under 9. Yes. Okay. So they lose a point of luck. So Cam starts to lose it.
"Oh no, everyone's out to get, wait, who are these people? I don't trust them."
And Zenji says, "Remember, I'm here with you. Stay strong. It's just the heat."
And Cam says, "Oh, right, okay. Yes, you're right. Let me just crawl and walk out of here and move on ahead."
Right. But before they go, they find an extraordinary book, which I imagine is also too small, which is funny. We also rolled depth here, so that's plus 8. 6 plus 8 is 14. An atlas of extra-dimensional spaces and other worlds. This book describes a way of getting into Yin, Carcosa, Lang, Hell, or the Dream World. The method will be one that is useful to the reader once they leave the library. And they're trying to get to the sphere of the gods. I bet this is useful and specific. Dragog's definitely going to pick that up. Here's what we'll say it does. It describes different methods of traveling between worlds, accessing other worlds. We're going to keep going. All right, we are now at level 9. 9 plus 9 is 18. The planetarium. 12 plus 9 is 21. Stacked papers. And a random event. 9. Player characters become disoriented and lose track of their position. Okay. All right, so in this room, stacked papers, rather than books, the shelves hold stacks of loose papers, mostly forms and documents, formed into piles and tied with blocks of string. And this is the planetarium. A high domed ceiling onto which lanterns project dots of light that resemble alien constellations. In the center of the room, a large clockwork orrery modeling the solar system. A lamp burning in the center and long arms that hold model planets, moons, and comets in place. The whole thing clicks and grinds as it slowly turns. The planetarium moves to accurately represent the position of celestial bodies in the real world. It can, however, be manually reset to a past or future position of the celestial bodies. Resetting the position of the orrery has a distorting effect on the time stream. Those present find their state reset to the time shown on the orrery. If they set it to a point in the past, then the consequences of events after that point are negated for those present. Injuries disappear, curses were never bestowed, healing never happened, etc. Okay, well, first of all, they lose 1 progress, but I feel like Dragog, with his astrology, can definitely use this planetarium to gain insights. He's going to test his astrology skill. Oh, that is a fumble. Okay, I think from the disorientation, so they crawl out of the furnace, right, and they come into this planetarium, and there's papers stacked everywhere, and he's overheated, and he's overwhelmed, and he's looking at these stars and this thing, and it's like so far beyond anything that he's ever encountered before that he's just like totally at a loss. So they lose progress. This planetarium can undo curses and injuries. Well, Brodana, right, being consumed by the Alzabo, that could be considered a curse, could be undone. It's interesting. Oh, is this, you know what? Okay. This is why Brodana was being cagey. She knew that this was here in her previous explorations to the library, but she didn't want to go down here by herself. She knows that she can use this to undo, so effectively, pulling herself back out of the Alzabo. But the reason that she's being cagey about that, because that means then she will return to her librarian form, but the Alzabo, it'll be there and it'll have to fight it, right? At this point, Dragog notices Brodana being like a little shifty, like a little strange, and being like, yes, okay, this is it. I found it. I can undo this curse. I can return to my other form, my body. I want it back. I just haven't been able to manage this monstrous form. And Dragog says, whoa, hold on. Brodana, think about what you're about to do. If you undo this, there's going to be an Alzabo in the room here with us. Brodana says, well, that's a risk that you all will have to take. All right, and I think we'll stop it there. So thank you so much for following along. If you're enjoying this, please like, subscribe, and share. Leave a comment. This is Science Fantasy Awesome, and you are awesome.